I'm Vidya Sagapam. I'm the program associate at Clean Energy Access Network, and currently I'm handling access to markets. So I really welcome to this session on India-Europe private sector collaboration, building on a decade of partnerships for scaling DRE. It's my privilege to call up on stage the moderator and the speakers. I'd like to call up Mr. Deepak Mohapatra, Senior Officer, Business and Market Development, Alliance for Rural Electrification, ARE. Next, I'd like to call up Meenakshi Singh, Business Development Manager of Schneider Electric. Next, I'd like to call up Mr. Bishwarup Banerjee, Renewable Energy Program Manager, IKEA Foundation. Next, I'd like to call up Mr. Dwipen Barua, Managing Director, Global Sustainable Energy Solutions. And last but not the least, I'd like to call up Mr. Nitin Akhade, Executive Director of Customized Energy Solutions, and also President of Clean Energy Access Network. Thank you, sir. May I request all the speakers and the moderator please stand together for a group photo? Thank you. May I request everyone to kindly take their seat? Deepak, over to you.
All right, shall we start? Warm welcome, everyone. Good afternoon to you and good morning to our panelists joining us from Brussels. So let's do a quick check-in if he's already around. David, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, Deepak. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks. All right, warm welcome, everyone. My name is Deepak. I'm the Senior Officer, Business and Market Development at the Alliance for Rural Electrification. Alliance for Rural Electrification is a global industry association when it comes to all things access to energy and clean energy transition. So you can see us basically as clean, but a global version of it. Hence why we are here today as partners. Now, as we go as per the agenda for the session, we'll do quick opening remarks, which will be done by my colleague, Mr. David Lecoq, CEO, ARE. Followed by that, we have curated a very impactful session comprised of the distinguished panelist, Ms. Meenakshi Singh from Schneider Electric, followed by that Mr. Bishwarup Banerjee from IKEA Foundation, and Mr. Dwipen Barua from GSES, as well as Mr. Nitin Akhade from CES, as well as Clean. Once again, warm welcome to dear panelists from my side. And also, dear audience, thank you for joining us. I hope you had a sumptuous lunch. And yeah, just please make sure that nobody dozes off because I'll point you out. All right. So, may I welcome Mr. David Lecoq to deliver the opening remarks to set the scene and the context for today's session so that we will understand what actually that we are celebrating today, the India-Europe partnership or private sector collaboration, to build on how this collaboration has been truly impactful since a decade to scale up DRE. David, if you can hear me, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Deepak. According to Google, it's Sabiko Namskar. I hope that you will forgive my pronunciation. Hello, everybody. My name is David Lecoq. I'm indeed the CEO of the Alliance for Rural Electrification, ARE, and we are very proud to be the global industry partner of this event, and even more to be a long-term partner of our sister association, Clean India, led by Nitin here on stage. I have the honor to join you virtually on this very important panel on the India-Europe private sector collaboration around DRE. Before going into the opening remarks, I have to apologize for not being there in person. I do have a visa. However, there was a slight mistake in my name, and it meant that I was denied boarding for the first time in my life. So I will say next time I will definitely be there and pay more attention to my visa application. So my apologies for dialing in virtually today. Yeah, Deepak touched on it. ARE, what is this animal? We are the Global Electricity Association. So for businesses that are working to expand access to renewable electricity, to create jobs, to respond to climate change in Africa, in Asia Pacific and Latin America. We have around 200 members operating across the 3 continents, and it's really a whole package from the private sector. So we like to say we are a bit the Uber Eats, if you will, for SDG 7. We have the investors, we have developers, we have manufacturers, technology providers of all kinds, including companies like Schneider here on stage, which together present or combine all the solutions needed to actually deliver on SDG 7. Today, we are here at the, of course, IDRES event. We can go to the next slide. Of course, I would be remiss if I wouldn't say big congratulations to Nitin and the whole team at Clean. Of course, also all the partners, MNRE and the sponsors. To make this event happen is very timely, and we very much cherish our partnership, which revolves around and policy and trading and private sector business development, especially for you in the room, that will be relevant today, and then all things strategy. So how do we work together, international, national association, to break down the barriers to progress, to improving rural livelihoods? In India, in the next slides, very briefly, we note that, well, globally, we still have about 1.5 billion people that have an unreliable electricity supply or no electricity supply. In India, there is still around 300 million people that are yet to be connected individually to the grid. So there are, of course, a lot of reasons for this, from generation to distribution to piracy, affordability questions, list goes on. This makes actually a very good case for distributed renewables, because distributed renewables, in contrast to popular belief, it's not just an off-grid discussion or only very far rural remote communities. It is that, but it also can reinforce the grid that is existing or the distribution grids that are existing there. So it's really a bottom-up or the bottom-up solution to power people and businesses where they are today. This is what we are trying to develop all over India and all over the region together. So the best example here is the productive use of renewable energy. So we have to imagine these systems that are powering SMEs, that are powering small business, that are powering markets, that are therefore generating income opportunities and development of livelihoods. We see that in India, I think it's on the next slide, there is a market potential that in excess of $100 billion US dollar. That includes electrification, 500 gigawatt of non-fossil capacity by 2030. And we know that if anybody can pull that off, it's India. You see advancements in places like Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, in the Northeast, that show that DRE is advancing and bolstering the national grid to provide that uninterrupted power supply and bolstering the growth engine and the rural industrialization. We here today, we speak about collaboration between European and Indian stakeholders. So if I put on we're an international association, but if I put on the European hat, we see that the collaboration has been really quite remarkable. In this, we see a lot of European businesses invested, present on the ground in India and the other way around, with big partnerships that are being signed around supply chain, around technological development, around exchanging know-how. And you see it, interestingly, both at public and private sector levels. At public sector level, the EU will have its India Clean Energy and Climate Partnership. The Germans have their program, and there's many others. And whereas on the private sector side, you see companies like a Schneider Electric, like a Comap, like a Fronius, that are doing a lot of work in India together with Indian firms, each bringing their added value, as well as investments coming then from Europe into the Indian market, by organizations like the European Investment Bank, at Electrify, KfW, that have invested quite a lot. Even yesterday, I saw an announcement from $50 million from Denmark into radiance. You see, so there is a lot of investment happening. Why? Is it to be nice? Is it for charity? No, it's a business. And India is scaling very quickly. And of course, everybody wants to work together on that. Lastly, not to forget, the mother of all deals. There is now the famed Europe-India or India-Europe, rather, free trade agreement. We will see what that means for our sector. But certainly, at the very least, it will reinforce even further the collaboration between these two fantastic regions. With that, I will end my opening and very quickly highlight the next slide, which is an invitation to all of you to join us and our partners at the next Energy Access Investment Forum. This is our annual flagship event, which we will do this time in Kenya. Last year, we also had a delegation led by Clean. And so it's really a nice forum if you are interested in doing business in Africa. After this side note, thank you very much. Thanks for having me virtually, and pass the floor back to you, Deepak.
Thank you very much, David, for this motivating words and also reaffirming what it means to scale DRE up in a country like India, which shows massive, massive development, the political goodwill, the commitment from the industry, and the players like you all who have all the motivation and encouragement to do more work in order to achieve the energy security, energy democracy, as well as energy access combinedly towards clean energy transition. As mentioned, we have a power-packed panel today, and allow me to start the introduction round. Instead of me reading their bios, let's hear it from them directly on who they are and what kind of impact that they have created at a ground level from their own words. Allow me to invite Ms. Meenakshi Singh, Business Development Manager, Schneider Electric, to put your 2 cents on the topic as well, please.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you so much. And first of all, thank you for having me here. And I represent Schneider Electric, which is a company based out of France, and hence I'm in this panel, India-EU partnership. Schneider Electric essentially is an energy management and automation company. It works globally. I am part of the Schneider sustainability team, global sustainability team, which has sustainability commitments. And in India, we are trying to do multiple things, I would say, for pure as well as DRE technologies. And when I say multiple things, they essentially fall into 3 categories. One is designing and building solutions which are energy efficient related to the requirements coming to us from the community through different channels. Secondly, it is to upskill and build the capacity of the local rural youth. We have been discussing yesterday as well as today in the morning sessions that unless there is awareness in the community, unless there is repair and maintenance and that sort of ability within the community itself or within the local, at the local regional ecosystem, the installations happen, but they stop working or the efficiency is not of that scale which we envision in the beginning. So we are trying to build that competency at the regional level by upscaling and building the capacity of local rural youth. Thirdly, we're also trying to build a digital infrastructure which is not just going to give data on energy generation, but also different socioeconomic benefits. So these are the 3 core things through which Schneider Electric Access to Energy program is trying to work on the DRE technologies in India. And we are doing it through partnerships to various sort of stakeholders, governments, at state level, central level, foundations like IKEA, and also with the grassroots organizations because they help us understand what's required at the ground level. So this is the larger view of what Schneider Electric Access to Energy program and I do there. I am the partnerships person, which is why also I sort of pushed the partnerships thing. Yes, so this is what we have been doing at Schneider Access to Energy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi, and definitely partnership is the key word that we will take out as one of the key takeaways. out of the session because that's what we are here for to start with. Let's follow it up with Mr. Vishwarup Banerjee, Renewable Energy Program Manager, IKEA Foundation, to hear from him about the contribution from IKEA Foundation as well as his, let's say, reflections on the topic. Thank you very much.
So good afternoon, everyone. I think I'll take the audience a little bit through the journey of IKEA Foundation and its learning over a period of time by investing into the DRE ecosystem, so as to say. My name is, and I've seen and followed that journey very closely. And in fact, maybe there are great insights to share as well. So I've been looking into the philanthropic investment of the IKEA Foundation, especially in the DRE segment for last 8 to 9 years in the foundation. So in fact, the journey of the IKEA Foundation, especially investing into DRE ecosystem, started off in 2018, 2019. So the initial phase of funding was more to support the pilot programs, small DRE solutions, which had probably worked at a very local level. So the initial in fact, support system that came in, the philanthropic investment that was there to look into possibilities of scaling this pilot across different parts of the country, right? So, and after that, during those initial, stages of funding support, philanthropic support, in fact, many of the enterprises did receive, healthy, stable order and pipeline, and that's how the ecosystem started growing as well. And while our major focus of the philanthropic investment was to enable the enterprises and the private sector to not only test out those solutions, but also get a kind of receive a feedback from the end user and what is working, what is not working, and also reiterate and improvise on their business models as well as on the technology itself. Now, I think this continued until 2022 when we pivoted to second phase of funding, so as to say. And the second phase of funding was more to look into ecosystem level support, how we can really help enable the ecosystem to grow. So that's where, in fact, we started working with a lot of financial institutions, trying to expand trying to cover the risk of financing these kind of DRE assets, right? So, and also some of the pilot program that I mentioned, we really looked at scaling this to a major level. So one of the major commitments that IKEA Foundation had was in partnership with the Selco Foundation in 2022-21. I think that was to solarize 25,000 health clinics across India. And that received a very strong support both from philanthropic sector as well as from the respective state government. So while these were creating a stable ecosystem for many of the enterprises operating in the DRE ecosystem, but our journey, in fact, also we also realized while speaking to many of the enterprises that of course, early stage financing is a huge bottleneck for many of the DRE enterprises operating in this space. And these are still very early days, so as to say for us, but we are looking actively into diversifying from pure grant-based funding to more kind of impact investment, where we look into more debt or equity opportunities in many of the budding enterprises. So, that's where we have, I think, and there is a lot of work to be done at a policy level. So I think it also needs to be mentioned that this is where I think when I talked about the ecosystem support, your support to clean and support to many of the think tanks also came through. But whatever we have done, say in the limited way, I think the market potential is huge in terms of. Many of the data, I think, was highlighted, is close to 100 billion of opportunity. And so far, the comforting thing is bankers and financiers are slowly growing in comfort with the technology. So there is a stabilization phase happening of the DRE technologies, but but way to go, in fact.
Many thanks, Vishwarup. I think one thing that I would like to link from your reflections connected with what Meenakshi mentioned was ecosystem building from Schneider's point of view, and yours was ecosystem growth with the two-phase, let's say, works that you just mentioned about the phases that you just mentioned. I think that's a perfect link between how a foundation and a private sector also works from two different sides. Let's take a look at GSES. Mr. Dwipen Borua, Managing Director, Global Sustainable Energy Solutions. Dwipen, what do you think of this topic? What are your 2 cents and also a bit of introduction to GSES?
Okay. So, thank you for inviting me and good afternoon, everybody. So, I started working in solar since when I was studying my graduation in engineering college, then 1990. Then I have been working in, I have worked in government for about 13 years. So then, of course, I moved to consultancy, that IT Power, one UK-based company, and then we started GSES in India, 2012. So since then, we have been focusing on capacity building, of course, consultancy, of course, in parallel. So we provide very practical training in terms of off-grid, on-grid, hybrid, everything, and also customized training, because training need is basically one is, of course, the field-oriented, for what purpose you need to get trained. Then who are you, based on the person and based on the topic and thing. So that is why we customize our training programs based on requirement, both for companies as well as for individuals. So that is our main work. We also work with ARE. We are a member of ARE as well. And then they supported us to provide training in Africa, in Nepal, and also Bangladesh. And we also work with Clean. We are members since I think since the beginning, and we are working very closely with Clean and ARE board. So as far as GSES is concerned, we are actually we have 2 training centers. One is in Sydney, Australia, and one is in Delhi. They are well equipped, and we provide, as I said, practical training with tools, equipments, and all. So that helps people to understand the both off-grid and on-grid as far as technology and skill is concerned. So apart from that, we also support other organizations in building capacity in terms of, we also support training organizations to develop training materials and all. So this is my my introduction. And as far the ecosystem and connectivity is concerned, of course, it helps to when people come together, because DRE sector is a very diverse sector, and also in terms of technology, they are not single technology. So we have many applications, many things, they are very different. And also, mostly DRE is a customized requirement. So different people requires different type of solutions. Whether it is off-grid system, mini-grid system, so they requires different design, different even technology, different management system, different money. So those are the things, highly diverse. That is why this sector is growing, but very, very slowly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dwipen. And I guess that's a very perfect link to what we are going to discuss about is also the need for capacity building with the kind of work that GSES has been engaged in training and capacity building is also one of the things that we should be talking about, and also kudos to the fact that you are members of both Clean and ARE together. All right, well, coming to the man of the hour, Nitin, who doesn't know you? So let's hear it from you about what do you think of the topic today about the collaboration between the European and Indian stakeholders? And if you want, you can skip your introduction, because I don't know anybody who will not know you here.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak. So I'll tell you how this partnership works. I'm a very field person, right? I'll go and tell you what has happened on ground. Indian company IIT Bombay product, instant milk chiller, bought by Promethean, and it's a company, and they are also members, Santoshji, and they are working very cool from the cold room working group. In Zambia, in Central Province, Mumbai district, Littleson, another company based in Berlin. So they got the technology, and the problem they were trying to solve is how a small milk owner or milk farmer, जिसके पास 3 या 4 गैया होती है, right? Sorry for English, but 3 or 4 cows, how his milk can be saved, and he is away from mainland. There is no electricity. Zambia is to 20 million people, 10 millions are electrified, 10 million will be electrified in next few years. They all came together. Littleson, based in Germany, IIT Bombay, Promethean, and they forged out a collaboration. What we can do. So they really started setting up instant milk chiller and BMCs and getting small farmers together. And there is an Indian company called Varun Beverages who is taking their milk based in Lusaka, and Panelists is another Italian company. So see, collaboration works like this. At least what I have seen on the field. And things are happening like that. So that's one example. Actually, what I saw on the ground, actual collaboration happening, things making work. And ambitions are good. It has to translate into action, and which is happening. But at small pilot scale, here and there, proof of concept. We have to scale. These are real good models. Same thing in India. What as a clean we come is a national depth of technologies, and ARE or Google also per se. And I have good conversation with David, Jens, Deepak, and Pravinji also. As a sector, we should work together, right? Then only we'll move forward. Not in isolation. So that is one example how actually a powerful conversation will be. So yesterday I was mentioning partnership is a new infrastructure. If you want to scale this, scaling doesn't happen, right, guys? We started Bombay Commerce of Chamber in 1895. It takes a year to really reach to where they were and how clean can go there. We cannot expect miracles in 10 years, 12 years time frame. People have given their life, like Swatiji, Anurabhaji, Arishandeji. It will capitalize. We'll capitalize on every of their energy spent. Give us time, required patient capital for the sector, it will flourish. So that's one example of anecdote. Second, again, right, getting oil expellers, right? I'm just telling what is happening on the ground and how the technology collaboration works. गाँव में क्या लगता है? What we need in villages, right? I'm not just talking about villages, anything. We need nice flour mill, rice, and we need edible oil. These are two main ingredients that are required in every village, in every part of the world. In Northern Hemisphere, about 23 degree and above, okay, it's all processed, right? But when you come down between Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, technically everything is done in a village itself. Either powered through diesel or either powered through hand also, jata, right? When we say in Marathi, right? So the same thing in Zambia, Uganda, Nigeria, where I work from my other hat. But I led so much learning, and we have introduced so much clean ARE, Google Appears. Can we do together, right, in those countries? So there was one very interesting innovation I saw in those geographies. In India also it is working. Yesterday I also mentioned oil expeller, right? Innovations are not coming in oil expellers. एक सरदार ने इनोवेशन बनाया था, सरदार कंपनी का नाम है, 1952 machine. Very old machine giving good results. Okay, but we have to process that oil cakes 3-4 times. It's not efficient. So now there is an innovation coming up. There is an ARE member, Empony, based in Desselford in Cologne. I really visited them and understood how we can do these synergies. Can we get manufactured something in India or Africa also, not only in Indian supply goods there. They're coming forward and really making robust machines. Just affordability is the issue now. And when it's come with German engineering, it costs, right? Oil expeller, it gets in $3,000. 1.5 lakh mein aa jata hai. That product is 15,000 euros. So we are working with Rima and Michael. Guys, we have potential. But we are just off-grid player. Guys, you can put AC machine also, AC motor also to that, right? And then combine a solution with a hybrid solution which I think Schneider was providing, right, with smart controllers. We discussed this with Thomas also during the Augsburg conference in Messi. So these are the collaborations we are seeing. And as a network, which I'll come, I think in second round. So this is what I see like now, a partnership and collaboration. It can benefit everybody. Unless our members doesn't make money, how will it grow, right? We need to identify collaborations, partnerships, and identify right infrastructure where it can go and really support that. Not just grant or blended finance, right? It has to be a market-based solution. Wherever money required, we should give. Grants catalyze things, right? It's act as a catalyst. But when we want to scale, it has to be a product that really makes bankable efforts. So I'll pause here.
Thank you very much. When you give the mic to a field person, you will see passion, you will see direct examples, you will see how the technological innovation is actually coming into effect and play. Connected to that, what you mentioned, Nitin, question to Schneider Electric. Meenakshi, from Schneider Electric's experience, what European technologies have been most successfully adapted for Indian DRE markets, and how have these partnerships accelerated their deployment, please?
Right. So there are many technologies which have been taken from the European Union or our company in France, essentially, but some of them which are more relevant for the DRE sector here in India are, one, the hybrid and the modular structure of the deployment of the technology on ground. Second is essentially the, and we also discussed this last evening in one of our workshops about the safety and the protocol that is to be followed for the, to ensure the, you know, the customer's safety essentially and quality assurance. So that thing is also there that's also one of the technologies that we have been implementing in India to ensure the safety in terms of the products such as circuit breakers or those things essentially which help in ensuring the safety. I will just repeat that. But one of the most important things which we have adopted, I would say, in terms of DRE sector in India is the digital infrastructure, which we call the eco-structure, which is being utilized from places like data centers to really local installments such as rice hullers, which Nitin just mentioned, or the solar water pumping solutions. This infrastructure, this digital infrastructure actually is, I say, adapted to suit the Indian DRE needs because, of course, of course, we all agree that we need to monitor the systems remotely and we need to understand how the systems have been performing. But beyond that, what EcoStructure does is sort of provides data on the socio-economic benefits. So if we are talking about solar water pumping solutions, it would also give data on the number of farmers it's serving, the crops it's irrigating, the number, so the data on area which is irrigated. We are also trying to update it constantly, which is why I think, you mentioned about partnerships accelerating the deployment. So it's also about acceleration of deployment also. So it's about acceleration of deployment, but also about the quality of that deployment, right? So we are trying to solve for energy efficiency, being an energy management company. So all of these systems which are integrated in EcoStructure help us to understand how the asset is performing on ground, and also it gives data on the project or the program level. So it's also important for the funders, and it gives, we are also trying to build so that it gives a good state level data to the governments as well. So these are sort of three technologies which we are trying to adapt for the Indian basically ecosystem for DRE technologies.
Right. Thank you very much for mentioning that. Definitely modularity is one of the key, because no one size fits all. And then again, different places have different starting points. Not necessarily one geographical terrain would be suitable for another, for one technology will be the same case for another one. Therefore, it's good that modern problems need modern solutions, as they say, and that's what Schneider is adopting, so I'm very happy to hear that. Coming to Vishwaroop, access to finance, we have been, I guess, identifying over the years, in our sector especially, that access to finance is a problem, has been a problem, and probably, I don't know for how long it will still remain a problem. that's what Nitin just mentioned, that grants and, let's say, financing will catalyze things. So let's come to IKEA Foundation and ask Vishwaroop about how has the IKEA Foundation's funding support in the DRE projects over the past decade, what kind of key lessons that you have learned, and based on this European-Indian partnerships, how you would, let's say, provide your guidance to future philanthropic investments.
That's a long question. I think, let me see if I can short answer. Okay, short answer is like, I think two, three things. One is, of course, what I've seen throughout in last 1 decade is a slow stabilization of many of these technologies, right? And also a lot of adoption by the end user and positive feedback, right? So let's not also forget when this starting point of this journey. I think that's very important to realize. And second thing, what I have seen is, of course, a lot of bankers and a lot of financial institutions really taking a close look and getting a little bit of assurance and comfort in terms of these technologies really work. What needs to be done more in terms of stabilization is, of course, one of the challenges, as you mentioned, is the standardization that we talk about, right? Standardization, of course, I don't have any answers to it because these products are so diversified and has to be adapted to the needs of the end user. How standardization could look like. There are a few things where it has happened, say for example refrigeration, of course water pumps, right? But how you look into those kind of stuff more comprehensively for many of the DRE solutions that exist. Innovation is one area, as you highlighted, I think, where money has not gone much, right, in terms of the research in building efficient products. And so these are a few areas. I think, parallelly grant or commercial, you have to look into innovative ways of deploying money in all these 4 areas to really look into the growth and journey of more kind of a ecosystem level, so as to say.
Dvipen, based on the experience of GSEs, can you please list the biggest benefits and also the challenges in partnering with the European firms over the years?
Okay. So I studied in Germany, so I have good connection with Germans and also other European people. And then my batchmate was from 33 countries, so 33 countries from different places of the world. So networking is very important to getting getting connected with people. That is one. That is how you also getting connected to information and knowledge as well as the technology as well. So networking is very important, and then that networking or connection to people from different European countries help us a lot in terms of getting knowledge or getting idea about better technologies. So which is actually very, I would say, beneficial for us in terms of doing business. That is one. And also you have an exposure ourselves. That is the another one. If you look at the DRE technology, as I already said, that DRE is not you cannot see DRE as through a single lens, because one is multiple technologies. Biomass technology is having extensive opportunities. Solar, of course, solar is the main focus because solar is easy to do business. From the product point of view, electricity is more flexible. But I think I see from European context, I also try to promote it. Like European countries are very advanced in biomass technologies. So they use biomass actually extensively in terms of heating. Pelletization is very advanced in Europe. I visited many large trade fairs in Hanover, Hamburg, and also in Hohenheim. So they actually developed the pelletization as a very smart way and also a very smaller way. So you don't need a big pelletization machine, but very similar to our rice mill or that rice roller. So that kind of machine can actually make pelletization. In India, we struggle a lot in terms of biomass energy because of the our variety fuel is variable. We have different sources of biomass, and that does not fit to the what equipments we develop, biomass gasifier one. So we failed in biomass gasifier very badly because our fuel is not standardized. But that technology definitely can be collaborated. Then that will make biomass, I think, quite advanced. That is one. Second is, I think even heating in Europe is highly advanced. And you see such a nice that heater and oven both together. So that is actually you can keep it in a nice apartment. So then many I have seen my own friends' house that they use biomass for heating. Then it is automated, but very simple mechanism, not difficult, not a highly controlled automatic, simple machine. It keeps feeding biomass at a constant rate, and then it have a circulation of water, etc. But my point is basically customization is required in DRE, and that has to be done. Then what we need is basically knowledge and skill for that. What is, as I said, the DRE, as I said, you have to see a different lenses based on your. I will give you two small examples. Sometimes technology also became burden. So someone gave me a small light as a gift. Then I kept it at home. Sometime I use it. Then few days ago I saw it's not working. And I grown up with solar. I used to fabricate my own lights. Now this one I cannot do anything. I even cannot open it. So that means it is useless now. So I have to throw it, because it's not working. That is one problem I see as far as technology is concerned. So we need to also, in some cases, not always, all technologies are not similar, and also the case-to-case basis. I'm not saying technology is bad. Technology is good, but not always you can apply same technology and same digitalization everywhere. I will give you another example, then I will close. One person came from UP, a small town from UP. He came to somebody told him to meet me. Then he came to me and then asked me that I am a welder, so I want to operate a welding machine, and electricity is not available regularly. So how can I convert to solar? So he said, do you have money? He said, I have money. So then I just sit with him for 1 hour. I draw some diagrams and then taught him how to do it. He's a technician, so he knows what to do. And after 10 days, he sent me a video. He actually developed a solar system to run a welding machine. So that is what we are, I think, in my opinion, we are missing, because our skill is not going to the ground. Our skill is limited to the training room and workshops. We spend good money and spend good food, and that's all. And you will see some people always come for training, like sponsored training. So we need to go and reach out to people who actually need training, and then we need hand-holding. Because ad hoc basis training also does not work. Because if you train a person for a week or two, then he goes back and he have no work, then that skill has gone. That will remain same. Yeah. And also technologies keep on changing, no? So you need also dynamic training, number one. Learning process, I'm not saying exactly training, but you need hand-holding, dynamic in nature. Then we can think about it, how to develop certain, for example, for clean, we develop a app. App means that mobile app, how to diagnose the off-grid system in the field, how to determine what is happening step by step. So that helped a lot. Many technicians from the field, they said it's a very good application, but that can be improvised.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So these are the things we should think about, particularly when it is a capacity building. We should reach out people at the ground level. As far as DRE is concerned, it is so important. Yeah. Because people in the ground only, I would say, implement DRE. People sitting in Delhi like us, we cannot implement DRE.
Yeah, I guess that's a perfect call to action, I would say, and definitely what you mentioned, capacity building and training to the last mile, as well as keeping it dynamic. It's super important, and this is exactly something that we are cooking up together with Clean, which I guess in the coming weeks or months, the public will get to know that we are currently conceptualizing. speaking of airy and clean. David and Nitin, as the leading DRE industry associations in your own geographies, what is your vision for deepening the India-Europe collaboration in DRE, building on the years of partnerships with technology transfer, policy alignment, financial movement? And can you please share your perspectives? Maybe let's go with David first, and then we'll come to you, Nitin. David, over to you, please. Sorry, we are not able to hear you. Can...
Oh,
Yeah, now we do, yes. Please, go ahead.
okay. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's a big question. Of course, I think what is our vision for the deepening India-Europe collaboration in DRE? I think our MOU outlines quite a lot of objectives already. What is clear is at this stage, two things. One, there is the collaboration between the associations, which is all around partnerships, platforms, channels, and tackling things like the barriers that are still there, regulation, finance, they all came up in this discussion. They're still the same. We still need to tackle them. And for that, I think it's good to work through the leading associations like Clean and NARE. There is also a second element, which is, of course, the members and the reason why these associations then exist, to foster a collaboration between them. And so we mentioned today about India-European private sector collaboration. This is something that I would very much hope to continue to foster. There is definitely a lot of added value. India is a huge market. There is a lot to do. There is a lot of know-how. I think the European companies can also have a strong added value there. So there is a line of activity to be developed there as well. So in addition to, let's say, the macro level interventions at regulation, at policy design, market design, financial support, there is also events like IDRES and other activities that make that the companies that the members talk to each other, know each other. One needs investment, other one needs manufacturing components and what have you. This is the strength of the associations. This is the strength of a partnership between the leading Indian and the leading international association. And so suggestions from the members, also from the audience today, on how to do that, what do you need, are definitely very much appreciated today and down the line. You can contact, of course, both of us. I'll give you one example in closing from my side. We had with DRE, we ran a survey some time ago whereby essentially 70% of our companies said we struggle to find local skilled technicians that also stay there. And so what has been done is to start a program together, which we hope to work on or roll out in India as well, together with Clean, which is called CORE, Cornerstone of Rural Electrification, whereby we are doing exactly that. We are looking at it's on demand, so where are there gaps, where are the regions that skills need to be developed so that the companies can hire the right technicians. And then we go in and do exactly this. So it's not a long, formal, institutionalized, and so on and so on. It's to the point, exactly what is needed. We want to add a certification angle to that so that the person who is trained, who is typically a TVET kind of profile, will have the opportunity to carry that certification along to different to other job opportunities. And so that's really an angle, I think, that shows the power of partnerships and the power of the membership that channels its needs and its desires through actors like us to help the development of the sector. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you very much, David. Very essential points that you have raised. Let's hear it also from Nitin, what he thinks about it.
Yeah. When you ask a tech guy, my answers are always tech, but as an industry association and being in the board, I think two things we can really think as an industry association. In your association, we work with most of them, right? That's our strategy. Google, ARE, AMDA, there are so many of them. It's good, right? So we have a voice. So two things. I think same thing I can reiterate what David said, but very thing what members can get benefited. I think if they are benefited, everything works well. First is joint market access programs. Can each of these member, 200 we have with ARE, Alliance for Rural Electrification, amazing members, right? If you go and work out their directories, across the technology, it's technology agnostic, what clean is also, right? We work with hydro, biogas, biomass, solar thermal, everything. So how that can happen, right? It has not happened yet, right? How that matchmaking clinics happens on market. Might be they get access to Indian market, we get access to global market and African market through them. So that can really work out. We have to work out the nitty-gritties, right? They have really good stronghold in Africa, I've seen, right? Helping regulators. It's a 53 nation continent, right? On cartography, it looks small, but it's really big. And it's not just market. I think we have a lot to give to that continent. It's not just market, Africa. Okay, we should be very clear. And it will also be a 2 billion people by end of almost next 10 years, right? It's 1.1 billion, and it's growing a lot. And how we can really leapfrog them from no energy to energy transition. That's an opportunity where we can really help the continent, right? Take some learnings, our lessons, successes and failures also, as we have failed also in India, right? But see how we can really use those failures to really see how we can leapfrog that. So joint market access program, right, can really help any industry association just talking to each other. I was mentioning yesterday, your net worth is your net worth. The more you network, I think the net worth increases, right? Social capital, everything. So one thing is that, which I was discussing with David, everybody, right, who is leading the association, Lamide from African Mini Grid Developer Association, Praveen ji is from Gogla, right? And SMAP also, they do Action Learning Week. So we had word with Chandrasekhar ji based in DC. Guys, can we do something together? Right? Let's invite people. Let's have online dialogue because it's not easy to travel. It costs money, $2,000, $3,000. And still our sector is not there. You saw the report also, right? 1 to 5 CR cap, our report has come out. It's not easy to spend on travel also. Be practical. So such kind of things. Industry leaders here running association, let's come together, guys, right? And do this. And second thing is co-host financing workshops, right? Not at big event. We don't find people sitting here in front of us, right? Go to, not I'm telling village level, but go to right at the regional level also. That might help. Sensitize banks, right? They have money, but how to unlock that? There are amazing people here, those who have accessed money from rural Meghalaya Bank. Might be Upasna ji will talk in the next session. It was not easy journey to unlock that. Same thing when we go to Africa, right, with the support of all the industry association, amazing scheme have come there. It's called Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company. They have formed a company within Uganda government just to finance PUEs and really accelerate a $10 million fund. Everybody came together, they're accessing that fund for pumps, for oil expeller, and anybody can get enrolled into that. And now we are creating a pool of Indian entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, companies from Europe, how we can leverage that and scale it. From Columbia University, we have a data points from Professor Vijay Modi, most of you will be knowing them. 16,000 diesel-powered hammer mills are required in Uganda. 16,000. Location point, how far they are from the last transmission line. So that's a data point already done by an academic institute, which IIT Bombay also has for Kusum scheme, right? How their underutilization can be turned into profitability. So how we can really synergize that market access, get knowledge from that, and financing. I think these are two areas. I think most of our members will also agree. Bhai, धंधा करना है तो पैसा चाहिए, right? बिजली से business बनाना है, right? So we need money also. So request to all the panelists, Vishwarup ji here, how we can support the sector, right? Impact investing, how we can really see capital which is scared is used wisely, and that creates ripple effect. So these are two asks. I had a 10-pointer list, but I'll mail you Deepak and David, another association leader, how we can really work together and make this a start. I'll pause here. Thanks for sorry for my monologue.
No worries. We will start the rapid fire round shortly so that we will keep the answer shorter than the questions I will ask. All right. Thanks to the points that was mentioned here, and I would like to also throw it out to the State of the Sector Outlook report, which was just launched the session before. Priyaji, commendable job in presenting. A round of applause, guys, for the State of the Sector report by Clean. I guess this should wake the people up who were dozing off. All right. Question with the rapid fire round. Vishwaroop, we talk about innovation. Let's talk about financial innovation, such as blended finance, and what kind of mix and match in terms of instruments, in terms of grants, equity, both personal as well as corporate, and debt and all that we see in India that works the best based on your experience.
I think it cannot invite a very short and rapid fire response, but yeah, but I think it's not to get stuck with one financial instrument like DRE solutions, right? I think you have to mix and match and do more kind of need-based financing, which is required.
What has worked?
So
the
we
best?
have guarantees, FLDGs within, but it's a mixed story that we hear. Like some say some praise it, some needs a double layer of security. So it's a mixed kind of feedback that we have.
Thank you. Meenakshi, the technical capacity gaps in the ecosystem that you're building, that you alluded to in the beginning,
Right.
based on the Schneider Electric's experience, what are the next steps that you're thinking to take?
So we are sort of already taking the next steps, I would say.
There you go, I like
I'll just so essentially we have been actively trying to understand the technical gaps in the ecosystem, and we have understood there to be three kinds of gaps. One is within the community, the lack of awareness about the available technologies in relation to DRE. The second is lack of operations, repair and maintenance sort of capacity with the local youth. And the third is the technical capability of the grassroots organizations themselves, who understand the community needs but are then not able to develop the sort of tenders or the technological solutions which are required at the community level. So we are working on all of these three levels. We, through our foundation, are actively engaging in enabling, in upskilling the local youth as solar technicians. We are also working, part of my job as the partnerships person is to work with grassroots organizations to develop projects and proposals which effectively address the technological gaps in the ecosystem for the community, for specific application that they are looking the technological solution for. And of course, with our marketing and communications team, we are also trying to develop the sort of material which is good enough or which is there for the local community to understand what steps they can take to actively engage in the clean energy ecosystem. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Dwipen, you talked a lot about your friends in Germany. Well, what are the kind of actionable steps that you think or that you will recommend to your counterparts here as well as in Europe? What kind of partnerships that they should aim to, for example, MOU based or joint ventures based? What are the best possible way considering all the regulatory needs that are there in India?
Okay, so I think
Keep your answer short,
yeah,
please.
what agreement? I think there is a business to business deal, so I cannot suggest that. So they will be doing it, but I have a direct suggestions to ARE and Clean, because they are two organizations which are membership based. So I think you can work together and get more members. And then one challenge of ARE is basically the fees for Indian companies. So if you can complement each other, probably if Clean member can be ARE automatically member or something like that. There is one, just a few. But main suggestion is from my side is developing a learning platform or learning app for the people who really need the support in technology, in finance, in financial knowledge, in management knowledge. You can actually create a app-based tool that can be accessed by the members so that they can ask questions. Nowadays, I think knowledge dissemination is very easy if you have knowledge. that is through media is very easy, so that you can actually disseminate or support or give access to the members or even non-members through that platform, so that people. As I said, we developed a very small app, which was very helpful for the technicians to solve problem at the site. They go to visit a site, some problems they are in the solar system, so they can actually scroll the app and then identify the problem.
Yeah.
Very similar, you can do something, I think, in clean or even ARE. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this recommendation. Definitely we will take a look into it, and wherever required, we will seek your feedback as well. Okay, I have been prompted about the time, so let's open the floor for taking questions from the audience. Dear audience, so please, who is going to break the ice? There is a gentleman out there. Is someone passing the mic?
Okay. Rather a suggestion, India-Europe private sector collaboration, I think one area that we can think is the standardization and guidelines. European systems are very good on that. In fact, I was involved in developing a briquette standards and guidelines. We learnt a lot from Europe. In fact, they have developed 40 parameters for briquettes making. So our challenge was, it's easy to borrow that and keep it as this thing, but we have to do something implementable. So we had to scale it down and contextualize it in Indian situation. So we finalized with 4 parameters, and MNRE, this was with the support from GIZ. So we had a European partner who did this collection for European standards, and we did for Indian standards. We developed for Indian standards. That was passed on to Ministry, MNRE. They uploaded it for voluntary observation, and I don't know if they may have set it as a voluntary standards. So we have DRE requirement here. As a system, they may not be doing the similar systems that we are doing, let's say milling machine, etc. But as components, I'm very sure they will have very good standards. This is one area of our cooperation can be. I'll pass it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? There you go.
My question is to Meenakshi. On the EcoStruxure platform, you said, is it kind? Oh, my name is Srinivas. I represent a company called Cool Crop. We cool crop using solar. My question to you is it amenable for open source? What kind of platform is that? Is it you said social impact and all of that? So yeah, more on that.
So of course it works with our inverters or our drives. Basically, some of the component has to be installed in the hardware of the system, but we are trying to make it product agnostic. So not only it's going to work with the products of other companies, but also with different range of products. So for example, if I'm saying solar drives, are they going to work just for the irrigation pumps? No, they should work for the rice hullers as well. They should work for the milling machines also. They should work for other sort of applications also. So the initial testing has been done. We'll be launching a gateway or a product that can be, installed in different sort of applications, and then it should be able to provide us that data, and we can combine the data of different applications. So we are trying to solve for. So it's not like Schneider Electric is first company which is working on the RMS. There are multiple companies and all of them are doing that. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to solve for the disintegrated sort of data. So we are trying to integrate the data so that larger ecosystem level insights could be developed. So yes.
Thank you very much. More questions, please?
Hi, my name is Hari Natarajan and I support the Clean Network. So what I'm missing in the conversation, and which is what I want to hear more about, is what are the specific strengths of the organizations that are represented under ARE network, and what are the strengths or needs on the ground here? And how does the partnership like this really identify those 2 or 3 key pillars on which we are going to have future conversation? I liked one of the things that David spoke about, which is the core project that you're talking about, right? But another question is, because I don't know enough about ARE, are there a lot of innovators in your member network who don't necessarily have the market? So can there be an exchange with it arranged where they look at problem statements across different parts of India as posed by our members, and there is some support that we create for those innovations to be taken forward? I think in the earlier conversation also there was that comment that there's not enough funding available for innovation. IKEA, from a financing point of view, a lot of the European foundations bring in a lot of grant capital. Now, based on their experience and based on some of the work that probably ARE is involved there, what are the mechanisms where we can bring in more soft funding to drive some of the really challenging solutions that we're looking for on the ground? Because it does seem like a lot of the soft capital is moving away from India and focus more towards Africa. But the problem here is still not 100%, addressed, and we still need that support. So how do we kind of make those conversations happen, and how do we identify maybe those 2 or 3 things that as a network partnership we drive to strengthen the work between Europe and India? Yeah. Anyone can answer that, sorry.
Thank you. I can take the question about ARE members, but David, would you like to answer?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for the question. First, well, I know also the question, or the point rather, from the first gentleman about collaboration around standards and localization of them, tailoring to the market. That's actually really a relevant point, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, because it's not very marketing friendly topic. So it's not easy to fundraise for, but it's super important. And so there, historically, we have a conversation with the IEC, so the International Electrotechnical Commission, around creating specific standards already from before. It was only about large-scale renewables. So already now they have a specific technical committee around distributed renewable standards. And I agree with you that this is something that is very interesting to look at. How do you localize that to the market, in this case India, or to the states of India where we are working, without compromising on the quality. So this is an interesting subject. Thank you for raising that. To the point from the second gentleman there, well, the strengths of ARE and the relevance in India, the focus on innovation, I think this is building on what I mentioned before. I think with ARE, what we are bringing to the table is precisely the international experience from a lot of companies that are all over the private sector value chain, as I said, investment, technology, hardware, software, as well as developer and EPC. So that means companies that are doing solar in Kenya, companies that are doing hydro in Nepal, and of course, all of those that are working in the Indian context. And to see, okay, all of these companies together, first of all, can address the challenge of energy access, but also of clean energy transition, also of industrial decarbonization, of helping economies helping economies in countries move to a low carbon energy system that we know is necessary, even though it is not internationally so politically appealing anymore. It is still very much necessary. Thank God that now, thanks to the price of renewable power generation, that the economics are right, that countries, even in Saudi Arabia, the oil country par excellence, as you would say, they are investing a ton of money in renewable energy. Why? Because it's much cheaper to produce electricity from that than from any other source, especially, but not only solar. So anyway, this is an element I think that we bring into the table, is that across the private sector value chain and across the regional value chain as well, so meaning across Africa, to some extent Latin America, and South, as well as ASEAN region in Asia, we can bring, and our companies can bring, on my board, for example, I have 2 companies from Malaysia, right? So it's some from there, some from here, that are bringing the experience from what has worked in private sector model in their respective regions. So something that good has come out from ASEAN region, something useful has come out of West African region, from Nigeria, from Zambia, some countries that Nitin mentioned, and that we can have that, I almost want to say that South, that sounds so political, but that that collaboration between what has worked in one comparable market in terms of conditions of financing and politics and so on. What can we learn from that to adapt to the other market? To integrate the example of standards. What standards have worked in countries like Malaysia, in countries like Kenya, that we can learn from in India? What has worked in India, what has worked in UP, that we can take back to other markets like Uganda, like Tanzania? You see, that is, I think, an element that DRE is very good at bringing to the table, is that global, really, that international experience across private sector and across the different markets. Let me pause there.
Just to add one.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Regarding standards, actually, the IC standards are almost all IC standards in solar is now adopted by BIS in India. So you can actually buy those standards at a very cheap price, 1,000, 1,500 rupees, which are otherwise very expensive in terms of franc. So actually, BIS has done a very good job. So they adopted all the IC standard with respect to solar and also batteries now in Indian standards.
Yeah, thank you very much. One thing I would like to point out, these are basically my reflections, because at ARE, also answering Hari, we have 3 different working groups, because also not commanding, that's not a nice word. Let's say federating more than 200 companies in a sector like this, it comes as a luxury problem. Hence, we created 3 different circles based on their profiles. For example, the financiers and fund investor members, they are in one working group. Then there are tech and manufacturers. Then there are EPCs and project developers. 2 of these circles, they were looking at the standardization problem, for example. One, the tech and manufacture, they were looking from the perspective of the equipment and supply chain, import-export laws. The other one looking from the project perspective, the long-term longevity and the sustainability of the project. And hence, this is how. But the problem what we have come and kind of still contemplating about is being an industry association which is technology agnostic, meaning we have to deal with solar, hydro, wind, geothermal or bioenergy, then scaling it down to airborne wind technology, microhydro, and then all the innovative solutions and flywheel in terms of energy storage, power components, and so on. Now, when all these technologies are involved, which standard are you going to bring about? Then you have to also talk to the national governments or the regional governments to see whether these kind of standards are fitting their local needs and can be enforced or not. So these are, let's say, the discussion points which platforms like IDRES will address. And I would like to also, taking 10 more seconds, and in my capacity of being representative of ARE and Friends of Clean, would like to kind of throw my wish to the universe that IDRES becomes the national DRE event of India, led by Clean, doing the commendable job right now, so that it can become an annual platform for all our stakeholders to come together to address the problem from the ground up. And then, of course, collaboration is the key. Being mindful of the time, is it we can close or we still go? We can close, all right. So I guess I already started with my flow in wrapping up. What did we learn about today? We learned about ecosystem building from the problem where it matters the most. Where is that? On the ground, where the end users are. I mean, end of the day, we are all here to see how we can bring energy access to the last mile, right? That's what Clean does. That's what ARE does. I see Praveen sitting over there. That's what Gogla does as well. So working in silos is definitely not going to take us anywhere. Collaboration is the key. I have heard Nitin mentioning again and again that the Clean's tagline is comprising of 3 words: create, connect, and collaborate, and that's what we are all here for. We learned about the technology. We learned about adapting and adopting the technology in a modular way so that it can fit to the local needs. We learned about innovation, both from the technological and financial aspect. We learned about the journey of all our panelists today, how they have started from the nascent level to the point that they have reached today. We learned about the work that Nitin, in his leadership at Clean, that Clean is doing, as well as the inputs from the sector stalwarts who are here with us today. Lastly, in terms of access to finance, this is something that we will be keeping on talking. And I guess the better sense prevails. And of course, to do anything, the financing is the catalyst, and we need to make sure that it happens, and it happens well for our sector like it has for other sectors. So sensitization of local financing blended with also international and then other types of financing, personal, corporate equity, debt, and then different type of, let's say, mix and match will be the key. So I guess that would be a good wrap up. And those who would like to learn more about ARE, who we are, what we do, and how can you work with us, please find me anywhere here. I mean, I'm the only one with the beige suit, I hope. That you can find me easily. And yeah, please stay tuned to all the good work that is coming up with our collaboration with Clean and all the discussions that we will be having today. So all the best to everyone. With that, I would like to call the session adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, David. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for this
Bahut.
session.
Bye.
Okay, hi. So thank you for this amazing session, speakers, and then also thank you, thank you to Deepak for moderating this. We hope we will build on this momentum of India-Europe private partnership, and I now request Deepak to kindly felicitate the speakers. Ms. Meenakshi Singh. Thank you. Mr. Bishwarup Banerjee. Thank you. Mr. Dwipen Borua. Thank you. Mr. Nitin Nakare.
This is for you.
Okay. I now request Mr. Nitin Nakare to please felicitate Deepak.
Yeah, Deepak, please come.
Thank you, everyone.